to the Block. I'm your host, Emily Proud, and the gang's all here, Carl Reed and Blake Brockermeyer. If that's not enough to get excited about, we have week one action from Thursday through Monday, so plenty of things to watch out for this weekend. But guys, when it comes to newcomers, Blake, let's start with you. Who has the most to prove in week one?
I've got my eyes on Will Campbell, the LSU left tackle. This is his first start on a huge stage. He was a big-time recruit coming out of Louisiana. He's going to have his hands full against a guy, Jared Verse from Florida State, who had a really good game week one last week. Jared Verse is a guy that's played at the lower levels of college football the last couple of years. This is a chance for him to make a mark, but I think Will Campbell, for him, this is a great opportunity. He's been going against LSU's elite defensive linemen in practice all spring and summer. I think this is going to be a good test for him, but he's seen good players all summer, and this is going to be fun to watch for me Monday night.
Carl, who you got?
Well, I think that you have to look here. We've talked all summer about Travis Hunter. We've talked about Will Campbell at LSU, Cade Klubnik. But the guy that has the most to prove in week one going into this college football season is Missouri freshman wide receiver Luther Burden. There is no fan base in the country other than the University of Missouri who has put this much stock into one football player. Everybody's taking off work in the state tomorrow. People are not going to go in on Friday. Everybody's going to Columbia to see Touchdown Luther. This guy's got chips. He's got car deals. He is the man. My prediction is that from today until the end of 2023, there will be 200 children born in the state of Missouri named Luther. And the wild part about it, Emily, is 20 of them will be girls. There's been nobody else in the state who has brought this kind of excitement in history. This is a LeBron James type of anticipation for a kid's debut. Luther Burden is the guy to watch this year out of all of the freshmen.
Blake, I got to ask, if you choose to have another child, is it going to be Luther? I mean, what do you think about these expectations?
I will not be having any more children, but I definitely would not be naming him Luther. But I agree with Carl. Luther Burden's a special talent. I hope he has a big year. I know Missouri's counting on him. So if he doesn't, as much as Carl's been hyping him up all offseason, I'm going to have to come console him in St. Louis if he doesn't have a huge game.
It's just week one. We'll see what happens the rest of the season. It's a long season. All right, guys, from newcomers to guys who hope to be cemented in history, the top Heisman odds feature names that you know pretty well: Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams. We've heard all about them. But Carl, who are you picking is a long shot to win the Heisman this year?
Well, I think I might be picking this guy due to osmosis because I've heard Blake talk about him in North Carolina State all summer long. Devin Leary, quarterback at NC State. If NC State is the team that everybody says they are, if they go in and beat Clemson and win the ACC and NC State gets the fourth playoff spot, it will be because Devin Leary is playing like the best quarterback in the country this season, and he would be worthy of heavy Heisman consideration. I think that right now he's a long shot, but if North Carolina State reaches their team goals, it will be Devin Leary right at the top of the Heisman conversations.
Blake, I know this is a guy that you really like. What do you think about his Heisman status?
Yeah, I like the pick, Carl. I think it is a long shot. I think we both agree that the Heisman Trophy winner will be an Alabama or Ohio State player. They've got so many to choose from, and they're the two best teams in the country. But Devin Leary is a really good quarterback who's a great college fit at NC State. If he can stay healthy, I know his confidence is up. I know head coach Dave Doran loves him, thinks he's the best quarterback in the country. And I think he's going to have a big year this year as well. So we'll see how it goes. They're going to have to win every single game for him to have a chance at the Heisman, though.
Yeah, Carl, when it comes to picking a Heisman winner, let's be real. We wish it were just the best player in college football, but it's usually the best player on a team that's relevant. How do you think NC State will fare this year to help his campaign?
Well, I think they're going to have a good season. I don't know if they're going to beat Clemson, and it'll take them beating Clemson and winning the ACC in order for him to do that. but you never know. We've been wrong on games before. I've been wrong on games before. If he goes and beats Clemson, then you're going to have him jump right to the top of the Heisman race.
Blake, when I think of Heisman long shots, I think of non-quarterbacks. Who's your pick?
I've got Jackson Smith and Jigma. I mean, really, he is the best receiver in the country. I mean, all you really have to do is look at his last 6 games last year. This is who this guy is. He had 60 catches for 958 yards and 6 touchdowns. I mean, that for most guys is what they would do in a season at best. Some guys a career. And Jackson Smith and Jigba is a special talent. He's going to have a chance to go off this year in Ohio State. They're loaded on offense. And if he won it, it would not shock me because he is going to have a monster year this year.
He's a great player, Blake. I agree with you. I mean, he's explosive. He's box office. I think the thing that's going to hurt him the most is he's on the same team with C.J. Stroud and Travion Henderson. And so he's going to be sharing that ball with a few guys, and he's on the team with a quarterback who has a great chance to win it. He would be a long shot, but he would be deserving because he may be the most talented guy on that football team.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking long shot, so he's not my favorite guy to win it. I think he's deserving. It's a quarterback award. I think C.J. Stroud obviously is going to be the guy that's probably the favorite to win it on that team. But I really like Jackson Smith and Jigma, and watching his film and how Ryan Day schemes him open. I mean, it's just silly how open he is. I mean, it's not, most of his catches are not even contested.
Yeah, just an embarrassment of riches on that offense. And you have to think that if Jackson Smith and Jigba has a good year, the guy throwing him some of those passes also has a pretty good year. So we'll see. Thank you, guys. Let's finish off by picking 2 of the marquee Thursday night games. That's right, we don't have to wait too long. First, we've got the Backyard Brawl making its triumphant return. Pitt now a 7.5-point favorite over West Virginia. Blake, who are you picking?
I like Pitt. I think Pitt in the trenches on both sides of the ball are very talented. They've got a veteran offensive line. They've got a really good defensive line, one of the better ones in the country, in my opinion. And I think that they do just enough at home in a really tough game versus JT Daniels, who's going to probably throw the ball a lot. They've got maybe a little bit more talented receiver corps at West Virginia. But it's going to come down to a battle of the trenches. And I think Pittsburgh's just a little bit better than them playing at home. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I used to love watching this game back in the day when they played it for a lot of all the marbles. And I just think that Pitt's going to be a little bit too much. But if they do somehow lose, I'm looking forward to Pat Narduzzi losing his mind at a press conference after the game, or maybe even in a handshake.
Well, Blake, I don't think that Pat's going to lose his mind. I'm going with Pitt as well. I think that Pitt is going to get a couple of more defensive stops than West Virginia get. I think they're a little more stout on that side. This isn't quite the Spartan dog defense that Pat Narduzzi led at Michigan State, but he still does put a heavy emphasis on the defensive side of the ball. I think in the end, Pitt makes 2 or 3 more plays than West Virginia, gets 2 or 3 more stops, and that makes the difference in this ball game. And Pitt wins this one.
Yeah, I think Pitt's going to really focus on running the football more this year. I don't feel like Pat Narduzzi was happy with how much they threw the ball last year. They obviously lost a couple of really talented players, one through the portal and one to the NFL draft. So I look for them to be really physical in the trenches, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
I appreciate you guys giving the big men a shout out here, but I'm looking at quarterbacks. I mean, it's too easy. We got 2 former USC transfers. Carl, what do you think about this quarterback matchup?
Well, I think that Keaton Slovis is the better guy. I think he had some success at USC. JT Daniels is a guy that hasn't quite lived up to the billing yet. So if I'm going to give the edge, I'm going to give the edge to Keaton Slovis. I talked to him a couple nights ago. He's really excited about this game, and I think he's going to come out on fire. I do think JT is going to have some opportunities. He's over there with Graham Harrell, so I expect him to throw it around quite a bit, but I'm going to give the edge in this one to Keaton Slovis.
I'm going to actually give the edge to JT Daniels. I think he when healthy, which has not been that much, is a very good quarterback. If he has time to throw the ball, and West Virginia's got a pretty good offensive line coming back with experience, then I think he can carve you up. So if they can protect him against a really good Pittsburgh defensive line, like I said, one of the better in the country, then I think he actually has the edge in my opinion. But I just think Pitts is too strong overall around him. I think the receiving core at West Virginia might be a tad stronger, but it'll be curious to see who can step up at Pitt this year with Jordan Addison leaving.
Hey, Carl, since you have Keaton's phone number, just feel free to clip that last minute, send it to him, a little bit of motivation, get him ready to go for this Thursday night game. All right, guys, finally, a Big Ten battle in West Lafayette. The visiting Penn State, a 3.5-point favorite over Purdue. Carl, we'll start with you.
I can't get no respect around here. That's what the great Rodney Dangerfield used to say. And I feel like Jeff Brom has got to be feeling that way. He gets overlooked a lot as a really good college football coach. And I think the game is going to come down to his ability to call offensive plays. He's got his quarterback returning. And when I look at Penn State defensively, I'm still not sold on Manny Diaz yet. He has not trotted a great defense out there in a long time. I think that Purdue wins this ball game. I think it's going to be close, but I think in the end, Purdue throws it and throws it and throws it and puts Penn State on their heels. I'm going to go with Purdue, 42-38 in this one.
That's pretty ironic. Carl and I have not even talked about this, but that's almost exactly the way I feel. I've got Purdue in an upset at home. They're going to have a lot of juice and a lot of life there for their opening game. Aidan O'Connell last year just had an incredible year. They always seem to find receivers that can be productive in their offense. They've got 2 Iowa transfers that he'll be throwing to this year. I think they're going to need to run the ball a little bit more than they have. But defensively, their strength is their back end. And I think that's where Penn State's strength is on offense, is being able to throw the football as well. And so I just trust Jeff Brom more than I do Manny Diaz. I think Penn State's a talented team. I really have my eyes on their offensive line. That's their season will be made or broken by their offensive line, because they've got talent around them. Their defensive line's got some talent. Joey Porter's one of the best corners in the country. So I just think the home field advantage is going to be too much, and Jeff Brom, in my opinion, is the difference maker.
I'm excited about all the points you guys are predicting that these two teams score. That'll certainly be a whole lot of fun. Well, guys, I know that these two quarterbacks, when you look at them as well, I'm not going to call them old necessarily, because they're 23 and 24 years old, but both of them have a ton of experience. Blake, who has the advantage in that matchup?
It's tough to say. I think Sean Clifford is a solid quarterback. He's got a lot of experience. The offense that they run at Penn State, I think, fits him perfectly, and vice versa. I think Aidan O'Connell is the same way in Jeff Brom's offense. They're going to spread you out and throw the football a lot. So I think they both fit their team good. I don't know if I would say either one has an edge over the other one. I think they're both capable quarterbacks and good quarterbacks. I think it's going to come down to other people around them, not really the quarterback, because I think they're both solid guys.
I'm going to go with Aidan having the advantage, because I think he has a little better offensive line blocking for him, at Purdue and that. So that's going to give him chances to make more throws, push the ball downfield a little more in an offense that's super quarterback friendly.
All right, guys, I didn't tell you this, but I will be writing this down. I'm keeping track of it. We'll revisit this next week. We'll make sure that we hold you guys accountable on this show. You can't just throw out picks willy-nilly, and make sure that we see how you do there. Guys, thank you so much for another great episode of The Block. You can see us again here tomorrow at 1 p.m. on the 24/7 Sports YouTube page. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great night.